Raptors.
And one of my favorite birds, a dish.
Yeah, mine too.
Love me some owls. We get very excited here at the Cinebryant house whenever we get to see some owl action in the backyard. We have some woods and a creek behind our house, and I don't. For a while there, it seemed like they might have been nesting. We were getting a lot of visitors, but had one in the driveway one time on a branch that we went out and looked at, and it did that deal where it's facing another way, and I hooty hoot at it, and it turns its little head around,
like The Exorcist.
Looked right at us, and Emily went, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
And Ruby was excited, and we hear them at the camp having. I don't know if they're having sex or if those are mating calls, but some of the crazy sounds they make.
Man,
it's
they really
interesting.
Yeah, I was looking up all the different owl calls, and they are just magnificent, and they're so varied. There's just so many different calls. They sound so dissimilar. It's really cool. There's one owl that sounds like a whinnying horse. It's my favorite. I think it's the eastern screech owl. It sounds like a tiny little horse is whinnying. It's one of the best bird calls I've ever heard. 10 out of 10.
Would recommend?
Yes.
Okay,
for sure. I just did.
I think the ones that we hear are the crazy sounds. I think they're just regular, not the barred owls, but the great horned. Is that right?
Yeah, I think those are the ones that most people think of when they think of an owl.
But I think they're just sexy calls, like mating calls. But they sound like howler monkeys almost. They do not sound like owls.
Right.
It's really crazy.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, I love owls. The end.
I love owls too, and we're going to talk all about owls, and including how they turn their heads all the way around, which is pretty cool. But one of the things that you hit upon right out of the gate, Chuck, was that owls are raptors, or birds of prey. So that would put them in league with hawks and eagles and that kind of thing. But they're a lot different from hawks and eagles, not just in their looks and appearances, but in their biology and the way that they hunt, the way that they eat. They're actually definitely their own thing.
Yeah, they're a lot stockier. I actually didn't look up wingspan, but to me, it's always signature owl when you really notice something out of the corner of your eye. I'm always like, oh wait, that has to be an owl, because their wingspan is much more impressive than the hawks and the falcons around here.
Yeah, for sure.
And they have big old heads, of course, and little shorty tails. They got the toe is kind of a pretty cool feature, don't you think?
Yeah, it goes either forward or backward, I guess, depending on the owl's mood. There's another thing that's like so quintessentially owl in that it has big eyes, not beady little eyes like your hawks or your eagles, but like big, almost human-like eyes, perfectly round, in the middle of their head, not on the side of their head, but front-facing eyes. So they have really amazing binocular vision, and they have probably the best night vision of any animal out there, even better than cats, they say.
Yeah, and one of the ways, this is something I wasn't sure about, because sometimes you see the owl with the black eyes that are, I love my owls, but those are a little intimidating looking.
Sure.
Any animal with jet black eyes, and then the regular eyes where you can see color and pupils and stuff, and apparently they are the strictly nocturnal ones are the ones with the black eyes.
Okay.
And that's how you can tell, and it's not like it doesn't help them in hunting other than they're black to aid in their camouflage, so they can literally just be as dark as the night around them in every part of their body.
I always took it as their eyes were black because they were saturated with all the souls that they captured over the years.
I think that's probably true too.
So owls have been around for a little while, Chuck, and they're actually because they've been around. I think the oldest owl fossil that we found is like up to 55 million years old. And because they've been around so long, they were living on Earth at a time when the continents were in a totally different configuration than they are today. And so owls are like widespread. They're on every single continent except Antarctica. And they live in all sorts of different habitats, as we'll find out. There's, I think, 250 species total. And because they live in all these different places, but they're also owls, they do slightly different things. They've evolved somewhat differently, which is, I think it makes owls even neater, frankly.
Yeah, and what's the little guy, the elf?
Yeah, the elf owl.
Those are super cute. Those are the tiniest ones. And owls can get quite large though, but it's a different kind of big. They have they got that girth because they're short and stubby still.
Mm-hmm.
And in Georgia, I looked up, we have I think 8 different kinds of owls that you might see, but mainly the great horned, and occasionally, if you're really lucky, you'll see a barn owl.
The white one.
Yeah, those cool white faces.
Right.
We got some screech owls and some burrowers here and there. But mainly you're going to see the great horned or the barred or the barn.
Yes, the barred ones are pretty great too. Those are the ones that look like real tree camouflage and like browns and grays.
Yeah, very handsome.
They look very much like the great horned owl, except they don't have those tufts. You know?
Yeah, is that what the horns are?
Yeah, it's just tufts of feathers that makes it look horned.
Yeah, they look like ears, but they're not ears.
No, they don't, and they have nothing to do with hearing. From what I saw, they're actually, I think they use them to communicate to other owls non-verbally, like look out behind you or something.
Okay.
And then they also can move them in different positions, so it breaks up the shape of the owl and lets them camouflage in with branches among the trees more easily.
Oh, that makes sense.
I mean, they are, as cool as they are like evolutionarily perfect killing machines, basically, is what owls are. But they're also super chill too.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about the camouflage. It is pretty funny now that I think about it. For being such a sort of large, squat object,
mm-hmm.
They can be really hard to find, like in your backyard when you're like, I hear it and he's very close to me, or and then finally your eyes adjust and you go, okay, there she is right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Very adaptable camouflage. Well, not adapt. It doesn't change.
Sure.
Like an octopus, but
right.
You know what I mean.
That would be amazing.
They've adapted well.
So you mentioned barn owls. They're actually a different family of owl. So all owls are grouped into the strigiforms.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I'm saying it. And then the strigiforms are subdivided into these two families. Titanidae. I added an extra syllable.
Mm-hmm.
Titanidae. Yeah, okay, I got it. Those are all the barn owls. It's about 17 species. And then all the other approximately rest of the 250 species are Strigidae, which are true owls. And the way that they typically differentiate them, Chuck, is that barn owls have the heart-shaped face.
Mm-hmm.
True owls have more of a rounded disc face.
Yeah. I think the barn owls have a little bit longer legs, but they're fairly similar in size depending on the species, unless you get some crazy outlier like the elf owl.
Sure, which are ridiculously cute. They're like I don't know if they're the same size or the same weight of a golf ball.
Oh man,
I know.
It's got to be weight.
I think so.
The golf ball's tiny.
So I think the most familiar owls in North America and Europe are the true owls, right? But barn owls are found everywhere in the world, basically.
Yeah, but I think they're obviously, because they're more groupings, they're more true owls.
Right.
And we were talking